Here we have the next Hiya G.I. Joe exquisite minifigure, Torpedo. And one of the big things is I love the card art. I'm glad they are continuing that tradition of doing the G.I. Joe card art, because card art, at least with G.I. Joe and maybe a few others, is a pretty deep tradition. On the back, you got nothing of interest, a few pictures of the figure and just a lot of stuff. But in this case, let's get this figure open and take a look at it, because that's the prize of this. All right, here's Torpedo off the card. And real quick note, if you think my video looks a little bit different than typical, it's because I'm using a temporary setup. I've had to change some things up, so bear with me. I hope it's not too distracting. So this figure comes with a ton of accessories. You have the typical Hiya figure stand over here that's got a peg on it. It looks like a worn, torn, muddy battlefield. And then underneath there, you also get these two little I-beams so that you can attach them to this figure stand, and then all the other little figure stands you can attach together. You get this gun right here. A little bit better visibility right there. Then you get this harpoon weapon right there, which should look a little bit familiar if you've been paying attention to Hiya reveals. This also, I think, comes with the eel. Then you get, we'll knock him over, because he's not as important as the accessories. You get a couple fins here to put on his feet, and then he comes with a set of hands already on, and they look like they're trigger fingers, but then you get these, which also look like trigger fingers to me, so I'm not quite sure what these hands are for. They kind of look like they have got a trigger. Maybe it's a tighter trigger. I'm not quite sure, but you get a set of those. Then you get the accessories that are actually on the figure, including this knife right there. He has a secret knife on his side. And then you've got this contraption, his backpack with mask, which is all attached and hooked together right there. And I'm not sure if these hoses come out. I don't want to pull them too much, just in case they're not meant to come out. They definitely, well, they don't really go back and forth like I thought they did. This might be like kind of all one unit, maybe glued together at the factory. Scoot all this stuff off to the side. And then he's got a couple secondaries. He's got this on his left leg and the sheath on his right leg. The belt is part of the waist, it looks like. And he's got this harness around his torso, which I suppose if you could pop off the arms and the head, you could get these off. He is really white. The color on him is very white. I think the classified, I don't have the classified figure here with me at the moment, but I think the classified version was like a gray color. Let's bring in some lights a little bit closer. Bear with me, this is going to be kind of a video in progress. Not as, I try to polish videos. This is not going to be nearly as polished as typical. So here is, you can see his face, I think, a lot better here. See how close I can get to focus. And yes, in person, at least where I'm looking, his skin is almost like, I'm not going to say red, but it looks about like what this video is showing you. And he's got the white down the middle, he's got the black, and he's got some pretty nice bright red accents through the belt and the harness. He has a little computer here on his right wrist. Maybe it's like some sort of underwater. The articulation is pretty typical for what you'd expect from Hiya. Now, I was trying to pose this guy, not pose him, but just check the articulation out in between or after taking him out of the box. And I noticed a few things I'll point out. So I'm not going to be articulating everything. So I can't get his ankles to go back and forth. And I don't know if I can show this on the video very well. We'll see how close I can get, how close this will let me. But right in here, I can see that it looks like there's paint stretching across that joint. So I'm going to have to heat this one up. And if you've got this figure, or if you're curious about this figure, you might want to, if you haven't articulated it, you might want to send the hair dryer over, give it a once over or so, because like the ankles I can't get to move. The thighs are incredibly tight. There is a thigh cut on both of them, and these are just very tight, and I don't want to break them off. So I'm going to throw the hairdryer on this figure later. He has double pinless knees, so that works very well. I think this looks really good for that. This figure is probably one of the best Hiya figures thus far, I'll just say. Because there's been some issues on and off. I think his face, the sculpt and the design of his face, actually look really pretty good compared to some. And the articulation, he feels good, he feels tight. I don't feel like anything's going to fall off. His arms will come up about that high. There is a butterfly joint on both sides. There's a bicep rotation. It's a little bit tight as well, but it still works. Double pinless elbow, so he can get his arms up about that far. And a ball joint at the wrist, so it's no hinge or pivot. It's what it is. And when you pop these wrists off, you can see that ball joint right there, and then you can pop these on. I have noticed that in the past with some Hiya figures that the included hands are sometimes a little bit too tight, and you might need to use, again, a hairdryer to get those hands on. His head does rotate around. It's just on a ball joint. Neck moves around just a little bit. Yeah, overall, I'm just going to say, again, this is a nice figure. I really, really like Torpedo here. I think the original 80s version was a little bit skinny. I didn't really like that one. It looked kind of goofy in the face with the mask. And Classified I thought was a pretty decent update. I don't remember what the modern articulation era, whatever that's called, the 40th, no, 20th, whatever, anniversary in the 2000s. I don't quite remember what that figure looked like, but I think this one looks so good. I think this is awesome, this figure. I'll probably end up just keeping him with his gear on. Let's put his stuff back on. Let's gear him up and see what he looks like. Does this, yeah, it kind of matters. Oh, there are holes in the bottom of the feet, but there are no holes in the flippers, so they just kind of go on. They just kind of go on, which is nice. I don't always like the ones that peg on. There are no peg holes through the flippers, though. So in the past, sometimes Hasbro would put holes in so then you could still mount it, but not in this case. Let's go ahead and put the harpoon gun. He's got very nice pliable fingers. Oh, you know, maybe... Oh, no, nope, the gun and the harpoon gun are kind of the same design. I thought that maybe it was a finger thing to get it through this specialized hole. His finger almost doesn't quite make it up to that hole. Like, his finger doesn't really reach, I don't think. And I did it wrong. I was supposed to put this around his arm, but, you know, whatever. Push all this stuff off to the side. Let's go ahead and put this one in his left hand. Yeah, the finger is having a little bit difficult time reaching, at least mine. There we go. I got it in. There we go. So you can have him on land with this gun right there, or you can have him underwater with this gun, with a harpoon. So, you know, I'm just going to leave it off for now. But here we have Torpedo. There's really not a whole lot more to say. I like this figure. I think this is actually one of the better Hiya figures. He does seem to... Oh, I didn't mention he does have a waist swivel, and there's a torso cut up here. So you can get him in some pretty decent positions. He feels tight. He feels good. He feels like a nice working action figure. So I know a few figures in the past have kind of had some rough spots. Some of them, like I had a Storm Shadow that broke at the elbow with the rivet. So hopefully that won't happen anymore. But maybe this is a sign of things to come. Maybe all these Hiya figures are going to be even better in the future. So that would be really cool. But here is Torpedo. He's got some chores to do. Here is Torpedo from Hiya's G.I. Joe Exquisite Mini line. I think this is a pretty awesome figure. Anyway, thanks for stopping by and watching. Before you get out of here, click on the video in the bottom left corner because YouTube thinks you want to watch it next, and it will help this young, small channel grow.